Welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 10 properties today and new lighting. So I don't know if I look better, maybe my complexion is a little easier to digest, but this has always been about the houses, and it's always been about really interpreting information and telling you some things you may not know just from looking at the MLS listing. That's what Daily Homes is about. That's why we started this, as if I was sitting right in your living room, 10, 15,000 homes I've seen in my life behind me, the experience, and saying, here's what you need to know about these properties. So that's what we're going to do, 10 properties. If you want to get more specific updates about homes, you want just condos or just country or only 4 bedrooms, only new or old, or even if you're looking in other areas like Mississauga, Oakville, Burlington, Georgetown, any of those areas, we can set you up with what's called our Home Finder program. And there's more information at homefinderprogram.com. And without further ado, let's get started with today's list. So we start off with 56 Finney. It's very common to see a village townhouse start us off. And so these are 3-story homes. They do not have a backyard, contrary to popular belief. They do not. They are joined on the back, the side, and the other side. So 3 sides of this home are joined to the neighbors. And what it means is lower energy cost. Usually it's very cheap to heat these places. This is a small model, so it's the 1050 square foot version. Nice finishes. It would have served them better to just get rid of this stuff, put it in the garage, at least for photos. If you had to leave it out for showings, what can you do? But I think when you're talking about photography, you have to do the little things. You have to put the toilet brushes away, put the garbages away. It does make a big difference. Even in here, there were some things probably that they could have done. Even getting rid of that cord, tuck it in behind the dresser. You don't need the cord for pictures. It does make a big difference. So you can see that most of the time when people start having kids and they start having this out on the balcony, usually it's time to move to a different property. So 384, pardon me, is not a bad price. We've seen a couple of them go up in this range, up to 380, but you've got to really dress to impress. You've got to look pretty good to get it in this kind of zone. Next up, Elliot Crescent. We put a link in yesterday's email, and so here's the thing, 4-bedroom home. They're not huge rooms, right? What I like about this home too is if you ever ran out of space upstairs, you can just extend over the garage. You've got a beautiful layout for doing that. The lot is the real star of the show here, but the home is in very good shape. Nice hardwood floors. You've got a renovated kitchen in here. The windows look pretty nice. You've got casement windows there and a pretty open basement. There's a lot of, it's not closed off. It's all just one big rec room, and then you've got your laundry and utility area. But yeah, the yard is definitely the star of the show. I mean, when you look out from the kitchen, you're surrounded by trees. There's so much privacy here. And a lot of the homes in Dorset Park right now are listed higher. They're not always justified, I think. So something like this will get you in under 550, and there's been a lot of action on this one here. Anything under 550 in Dorset Park does very well, especially when it looks like that in the backyard. So I'm expecting good things from this one, and if you want to see it, again, my advice is just get in quick, because I don't know how long it's going to last. And that's not a pressure tactic. It's just seeing the activity that's happening on it. Really like this one on Watson Terrace, $599.9. It's a Powell model, so it's about 1,900 square feet. Some people like the darker flooring, cream or dark colored kitchen. This one has the lighter flooring, but sometimes when it all comes together nice, it actually looks really good. So it matches up with the kitchen. You've got little things like an upgraded gas stove there. You've got a cabinet depth fridge. So just a nice clean look in the kitchen. Lots of storage space in the pantry. And then upstairs glass shower. And the 3 bedrooms plus the laundry. And then you have a park right behind here, so you've got no neighbors behind. So based on what else is sold on this street and even this model, I would say that they're doing very well at $599. I would expect that they might even sell for a little bit more if things go well. So $25,000 more than Watson gets you this one on Caverhill Crescent, and I just did a quick map search. Always check the street addresses too, because Google doesn't always put you in the exact right spot. This is the home right here. A 3-bedroom Lindsay model. Unless they extended and made the master larger, it doesn't look like it here, but you're talking about 1,700 square feet plus a finished basement. Without seeing the pictures, I would say that this one looks a little bit high at $625. Next up is Clemens. Clemens, however you say it, the intonation could change depending on the person. $699. This is a large Timberley home, and it's a great street, 60 by 110. You've got enough finishes in here that you can say, hey, you know what, I can live in here. I can maybe do hardwood next year, the year after. The cabinets are more original, but you can still paint them, you can stain them. When you've got real wood, you can do a lot with them. But it's a large home. It's one of the larger models that you'll find on the street. And overall, I would say this is doing quite well. Classic Timberley lot, and one of the best streets in that entire neighborhood. So for $699, I think they priced it right on the mark. We've seen, I think, streets that aren't as nice as this, and even slightly smaller homes in similar condition go for right around $700,000. So they are in the zone. This is pretty close to being my favorite pick of the day. So Bias Circle, $729.9, and it's 2,500 square feet. It's a lot like a Wood Lily, the old version. Here's the problem I have, is that it's a 36-foot lot. So the house is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with the home. I just think that if you're going to pay $730 for a home, you can go over to Beatty and buy a 56-foot lot. You start getting a home like this, and it's all about the quality. And we've seen this model, I think at $785 was sold conditional last week, or something very similar, I should say, very similar size to this model. If it were me though, I would be looking at getting more land once I start crossing $700,000. Okay, 248 Martin Street is $799, 70 by 110 foot lot, nice wide property on Martin Street. So it says legal non-conforming for plea X, and I figured out after reading it for about 30 seconds, it's a 4-plex detached, $54K a year in income. Now, we don't see a lot of very good investment properties, but 4 units for $799, that's $200K a unit. I'm interested, okay? Because that's something, you buy a townhouse for $450, and you know that's one door that you're getting for $450. We're talking one door for $200,000. Let's look at the numbers here. And again, I'll preface this by saying that you know, I just look at this from a rough template. The numbers in real life could be drastically different than this, but just to see if it starts to make sense, I'll put this together. So 4 units here, $54,000 in income a year. In rental income translates to $4,500. Purchase price, let's just say we got it for $790. Let's say we could kind of negotiate it out a little bit. Your yearly rent, $54,000, right? That's just a times 12 on that number there. So smart landlords, what they do is when they're calculating their actual income, they're going to say, you know what, 5% of the time the tenant's not going to pay me, or the unit's going to be empty. So that means 5% of your income is washed away just in lost capital, credit losses, things like that. So your net revenue is $51,300 after that's taken off. Then we look at expenses. We look at property tax, $3,600, which is really low for an $800,000 house. Maybe $2,000 a year in insurance. That's just a guess. I mean, that's something I'd have to verify exactly. Between 0.5% and 1% a year, I believe should be allocated towards repairs and maintenance. Windows, roofs, furnace, air conditioner. Maybe you have nothing this year, but maybe you've got a lot next year. 0.5% to 1% is not a bad estimate there. So your total expenses, $10,000. Your NOI, which is an important number for investors, $40,000. Now, right now, a good cap rate is 5%. If I'm speaking over your head, I'll get to the point about this in just a second. It's very common, whenever you get to that NOI number now, if you can get 20 times that and buy the property for that number, you're not doing so bad. Most people think a cap rate of 5% now is pretty good. So what that means is times 20 on a 5% cap rate, it puts you at $800,000. That's right where it's listed. So not bad at all. Cap rate is actually 5.14. So the mortgage payments, everything else here. But here's the bottom line. So $395 a month in passive cash flow, I think, is really good for Milton. I don't see many properties that even make any money. This turns red when we go below $0. This is enough for me. $100 a door every month. I'm interested. Okay, so this is one of the very few investment properties that I have seen in Milton that make any sense on paper. Could be a different story when you see it in person. Could need a lot of work. You know, you want to look at the units and say, are you getting fair rent? Because that's another thing. Could you get more rent? In which case, this one looks even better. Either way, nice. So that is the list. If you have any questions, if you're looking to invest in real estate, you know, that's a little bit about how you can look at potential opportunities. There's obviously a lot more to that story. It's not complicated once you know the formula, but it's also something where you have to really be disciplined, and there's a lot of bad choices out there for real estate investments, and you gotta be real careful. So anyway, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow with more Milton Daily Homes.